That was the stack. Before, though, we move to unpacking more of the opportunity, I want to do something different. I want to introduce two people whose LinkedIn profiles were both super impressive and slightly perplexing. Under current role, it says they're general partners at Mantis VC. Under previous role, it says they sold out Madison Square Garden. Please help me welcome Alex and Drew from the Chainsmokers. Alex, Drew. It's so wonderful seeing you, Alex. Thank you so much. You know, one of the things when my team came to me and said, hey, we're going to have Chainsmokers at Build, I thought maybe that's what we're calling our new GitHub Copilot app. But, you know, I thought maybe they're your fans. But tell me about how you got into this. I mean, you've been at it now for what, 12 plus years as venture capitalists or angel investors first, and you've had your firm now for 7+ years. And you even picked what I would have not thought is the natural place, which is B2B SaaS even as the first place. I mean, just give us a little bit about the backstory on this.
Sure. Well, hey, I'm sure you guys are wondering what timeline you're on where the Chainsmokers are at Microsoft, Bill. But hey, how are you? We've been in the Chainsmokers for 14 years, and when our music started to take off in the mid 2010s, we got to play a few events like this, and we met a lot of the founders from the consumer mobile cloud era of startups, and they taught us a lot and gave us a front row seat into what early stage investing was like. We fell in love with it. We found we had a lot in common with these founders, and the way that they built their business was the same way that we thought about starting the Chainsmokers and kind of breaking through the noise there. And we got to participate in a few of their deals. We were very lucky, and we decided to institutionalize in 2020 and start our own fund.
That's so cool. And when you sort of hear about all this AI stuff and what's happening, obviously there's a lot even going on. Even in your portfolio, we were talking backstage, things are changing. How do you sort of see the opportunity going forward?
I mean, there's so many vectors you could talk about this on. Of course, there's the creative output side, which we've been experimenting with in music, but always important to have your authenticity when it comes to creativity. But on the investment side, I think we're moving from producing outputs to producing actions, which I think presents like a very interesting opportunity to kind of reimagine the entire architecture of the way software and enterprise has been built. So instead of humans, producing outputs, it's machines producing outputs, and rethinking what that entire space looks like in that context.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic to see that. And maybe just to close out, any sort of as artists who have had great success, when you look at a founder, what sort of is the advice you give them when you're creating, you're bringing something new, and it's a creative process. So what are you looking for in founders? What is it that you're giving them as advice?
Totally. I mean, there really are so many parallels. Maybe it seems like that, maybe it doesn't, but I mean, it's really difficult as artists to really find, I guess, what your sound is, what's authentically you, what you can continue to do over and over, because with this much competition, you have to be moving authentically, you have to be connected to the product that you're creating, and because you're going to have to iterate and keep it going and have consistency for a long period of time to kind of lock into your fan base and make something that's special and unique. And we try to advise our founders to do the same thing.
Fantastic. Thank you both for joining us. Are you game for playing for us this evening for our closest friends here?
We'll be there.
6 o'clock, 6 this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be right here at 6 p.m. Tonight, and really looking forward to it. So that effectively sort of talks a little bit about the developer stack. So now let's talk about what is the opportunity for every company, right? At the end of the day, we are institution and organizational builders. Whether it's an AI native company, whether it's a SaaS company, whether it's an enterprise, the first thing we want to do is make sure that as you build things like plugins or agents or your AI apps, we want to make sure that they're discovered throughout the Microsoft ecosystem. That's job number one for us. That's why we're doing the things we're doing in Windows or the Microsoft 365 Copilot, or in Teams, or in GitHub. We want to structure them such that your applications, your agents, your plugins are discovered. Customers are also building lots of line of business applications, line of business agents, then using Copilot Studio, and we want to make that all discoverable again as part of the Copilot experience. And Teams, in some sense, has become this destination for multiplayer human-to-agent interaction. We want you to be able to find agents, interact with agents, right in Teams. And we are supercharging all of this. Copilot continues to evolve very quickly. It started first with chat, with some of the best models, with great access to Work IQ. We didn't have the name Work IQ, but now that's kind of where it got started. Then came CoWork, a new way of working and generating these stunning artifacts and solve these multi-step problems, right? So you assign multi-step tasks to CoWork. You saw GitHub. GitHub has continued to evolve as well. And now, as of, come summer, you will be bringing coding to all knowledge work within one Copilot super app, right? That's going to be really exciting to see, yeah? So you'll have chat, CoWork, and code all in Copilot. But today, we're introducing something completely new. Autopilots. We can think of autopilots as enterprise-grade claws. These are autonomous, long-running agents with full enterprise compliance that run in your tenant. Autopilots can have a name, personality, custom connectors, context, and memory. And they're a totally new way to reduce toil and get you back to what you love. To kick things off, the first autopilot we're introducing is Scout. Let's take a look. All right. As you can see, Scout works where you work, joining group chats in Teams, handling threads in Outlook. Starting today, for those of you who are on Copilot Frontier, you can try out Scout. And in the coming months, we will build this out to a complete digital team of autopilots right inside a Copilot, right? So you can go to the Copilot app. Scout is the one that comes by default, but you can build more of these autopilots. And so that's the future of what we think of as the Copilot ecosystem itself. And so far, we have talked a lot about what you can do to build your own agents and how these agents are discovered in things like Copilot and Teams and Windows. But when you think about what makes any organization, any enterprise, any company unique, it is its tacit knowledge that it's continuously compounding through its operations. So the key consideration at some level in an AI age is to ask the question, what's the future of the firm? How do you continue to preserve and compound that tacit knowledge in the age of AI where models can learn anything from the data and the trajectories they see? To do that, we believe that every organization, whether it's an AI native company, a SaaS company, or any enterprise, will need to build their own hill climbing machine. It's a system that continuously improves against your objectives, your private evals, compounding your advantage over time, not someone else's. To deliver on this, we're taking the next step with Frontier Tuning. We have been working with many customers already to help with, really build their own learning loop, the environment, the context, the tools, the rubrics, and even train their own models. And today, we are really thrilled and excited about supercharging that Frontier Tuning capability with the innovation that's coming out of our Super Intelligence Lab. To tell you all about this, let me hand it over to Mustafa. Mustafa?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. We really are living in the most remarkable times. Since I started working in AI, the compute that we use to train frontier models has increased by 1 trillion-fold. That's 12 orders of magnitude of computation in just 15 years. It's now clear that a consistent exponential increase in computation leads to predictable advances in AI capabilities. And in the next few years, we're going to see 3 more orders of magnitude of compute applied to train frontier models. Intelligence is now a function of compute. Log linear hill climbing has become the norm. The scaling laws are clearly holding, and it is a remarkable time in our industry. And so, in this context, we at MAI are building towards what we call humanist superintelligence, state-of-the-art AI capabilities that are explicitly designed to serve people and organizations and not replace them. Because the type of AI that we create really does matter. We need an AI that places humanity first, that always prioritizes human well-being and human progress. This is the core philosophy and motivation behind our superintelligence efforts at Microsoft, and it shapes everything that we do. And as a platform company, our job and our commitment is to keep you developers building at the absolute frontier. So today, we are very excited to announce a family of 7 new models across image, voice, transcription, and coding. These are all built with real attention to detail and a commitment to making very practical and efficient tools that are tuned to just how you work in the real world. So first up, MAI Image 2.5 and its Flash variant, 2 super strong models that deliver a step change in quality, now at number 2 on the leaderboard, surpassing the score of Nano Banana 2 on image editing. They give you precise editing with incredible control and consistency. Flash is here for super efficient production workloads, while 2.5 gives you that maximum fidelity and professional grade performance. They're live in PowerPoint today, they're rolling out to OneDrive, and right now you can access them on Foundry at a market-leading quality per dollar. Next up, we've got MAI Transcribe 1.5. This is the best transcription model in the world. State-of-the-art accuracy across 43 languages, beating out Gemini and OpenAI's flagship transcription models. We've optimized it for real-world use so that you can produce highly accurate transcripts for any bespoke use case 5 times faster than all rival models. It's now being integrated inside of GitHub, Teams, Copilot, Dynamics 365 Contact Center, and it's now also available in Foundry, where I'm very excited to say it is the fastest, most efficient, and most cost-effective transcription model of any of the hyperscalers out there. So paired with that, we've got MAI Voice 2. This is our latest speech generation model. It has beautiful prosody, natural-sounding delivery, fine-grained emotional control, and it's available in 15 languages with many more coming soon. We're also announcing Voice 2 Flash, and that provides the very best value and speed for ultra-latency-sensitive voice agents, which, of course, is the big thing in 2026. Next up, our text foundation model, MAI Thinking 1. This is our first reasoning model, and it's exceptionally strong in our target use cases of reasoning and SWE tasks. It's a 35 billion active parameter MOE with a 256K context window. That means that it competes in the medium-sized weight class, where it's certainly punching above its weight. And independent human raters on Surge prefer it in overall quality side-by-sides versus Sonnet 4.6. It's achieved 97% on AIME 2025, which is obviously the key measure of its general-purpose reasoning abilities. But most importantly of all, it's now at 53% on SWE-Bench Pro, which places it right alongside Opus 4.6, at least on the toughest coding benchmark that's out there. So we're very happy with that. Now, there's plenty more for us to do as we get this into production and hill climb against real-world tasks and real-world traffic. But what is actually most remarkable about this model, we think, is that it is climbed entirely from the bottom. And that means that it hasn't targeted any of the benchmarks specifically, and it's done so with absolutely zero distillation. And to us, this is critical, because it means that the model is created with an enterprise-grade, clean, and commercially licensed data lineage that means that you can put it into production in a very trustworthy way with complete confidence. Now, finally, I'm incredibly excited to announce MAI Code 1 Flash. This is our new inference-efficient coding model, which has been especially tuned for VS Code and, of course, GitHub Copilot CLI. It achieves 51% on SWE-Bench Pro, despite having just 5 billion parameters. And so it's much closer to Haiku in terms of size, but cheaper in cost, delivering really strong coding performance at great inference efficiency. And it's rolling out today inside of VS Code. Now, alongside distribution on Foundry and optimization for our 1P products, we're also very excited to make our models available on OpenRouter as well as Fireworks and Base 10. So this means that for the first time, you're going to be able to tune the weights directly yourself in an ecosystem of your choice. Now, across this entire family, safety and security have been built in from the start. Our voice models come with protections against unauthorized cloning. Everything is watermarked from scratch. We've reduced our over-refusals, improved representation, including for people with disabilities. We're also publishing a very detailed technical report today to give you a full and transparent understanding of how we've put all of this together. Now, one of the things I'm particularly excited about is that we have been carefully co-designing our models with our own silicon. So that means that we've optimized MAI Thinking 1 on our very own Maya 200 chip and benchmarked it head-to-head against the GB200. And so on top of the 30% performance improvement that Satya talked about earlier, we're now seeing a further 1.4x performance per watt gain when we run our MAI models on the Maya 200 end-to-end. And that's huge, because as everybody knows, at this scale, every watt counts. And silicon and model co-design is a really key advantage that we think is going to help keep everybody here right on the frontier with the most efficient and most powerful thinking and coding agents out there. We're also super excited that these faster and more efficient MAI models are coming to the N1X that Satya mentioned a few moments ago, and we think that's going to be able to deliver the very best performance on Windows in a few months' time. Now, to us, this is what owning the full stack end-to-end looks like. It's the foundation of Microsoft Frontier Tuning, lets you customize the MAI models using our full stack hill climbing machine right where you want it. And it means that the disciplined and very relentless engineering that has gone into building our models is now available to all of you on a platform that you can trust, working on your behalf to create custom agents that you will control. So the really big thing, of course, that's happened in the last year is these RLEs, reinforcement learning environments, these unique training gyms for your AIs. They create company and task-specific agents adapted only to you, built on MAI models. So for example, within Microsoft, we use our RLEs combined with our MAI models to climb towards the best agentic use cases on Excel. Our MAI-tuned model is now on par with GPT 5.4 on public and private benchmarks, whilst at the same time being 10 times more efficient on cost. Thank you. You know, and many other early adopters are seeing similar results. When we've tuned our models on McKinsey's tasks, MAI delivered the highest win rate, even outperforming GPT 5.5, and again, delivering 10x greater efficiency on cost. So to us, this is the advantage of very carefully calibrated frontier tuning. And importantly, unlike with some of the other companies, with MAI, you don't rent intelligence from a shared model that learns from everybody. Only you keep the benefits of your hard-earned workflows, know-how, knowledge, and your own institutional data. Only you get to control the resulting model. And so with us, the RLEs and the models that you build inside of them, they become your moat. I really think this is distinct. It marks a new era in AI that we're all very, very excited about. Okay, so now just one final announcement that I'm very excited about. We are taking customization and co-creation of our models to the highest level possible on what I think of as perhaps the most important application of AI, healthcare. So today, we're very proud to be announcing that we're partnering with Mayo Clinic to jointly develop a new frontier model for health and then deploy it around the world in their hospitals and beyond. So this morning, please help me in welcoming to the stage a physician, groundbreaking researcher, president and CEO of the Mayo Clinic, Dr. Gianrico Farrugia. Thank you so much for being here, Gianrico. Now, of course, everyone will recognize Mayo as perhaps the leading hospital in the world with an incredible track record of research and innovation and clinical practice. Tell us a little bit more about what you hope to get out of our collaboration.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. Thanks to Satya as well. Mayo Clinic is known for being able to live up to our primary value. The needs of the patient come first. We deliver outstanding healthcare. We're ranked the #1 healthcare organization in the world. Yet we know most people in the world will not have access to Mayo Clinic. So 7 years ago, we decided to create a platform, the Mayo Clinic platform, moving all of healthcare from a pipeline to a platform. And with our partners, that platform now is in 4 continents and reaches about 100 million people. It has created the largest, to our knowledge, deepest longitudinal healthcare data set in the world, multimodal, including genomics. So here together now we have the opportunity to do what we do best together, which is create a frontier model for healthcare. What it means if you're a patient, if you're somebody interested in healthcare, you can get clinical and logistical answers to your healthcare. But if you're a healthcare provider, if you're a physician, it can give you insights, it can act as your real-time team member that can tell you what is likely to happen next, but it can also prevent harm and therefore increase patient safety, and giving valuable insights that make the team better at giving you what you need most, which is better healthcare.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that we're most excited about is that the models are already pretty incredible at textbook knowledge. They've read all the journals and all the papers, but what they're really lacking is the kind of clinical practice and clinical expertise of your team and your clinicians that you developed over the last many decades. So how do you think we might go about using that clinical practice to improve the performance of the model in production?
So the exciting part here is we each do what we do best, and we can tackle something that has eluded healthcare for a long time, trusted, scalable solutions. And to do that, you need to have the right data, you certainly need to have the right people, but you also need to have a very patient-focused lens. And between the two of us, we now have all this together, so we can build this frontier model and then offer safe, secure, trustworthy, and of course, effective healthcare solutions for all.
Well, our #1 objective, of course, is to put the patient first, deliver the highest quality we can in a trusted way, and then hopefully share that with the world over. So we're very excited for this partnership. Can't wait to share more with everyone in the future.
Us too. Thank you.
Thank you. So today marks some very, very exciting steps that we're taking on our journey to create humanist superintelligence at Microsoft. We now have an incredible roster of 7 new world-class models to keep everybody working at the absolute frontier. And we're really looking forward to everybody being able to co-create your own unique agents adapted to you that you'll control. I really feel like this is a new era in AI, an era of AI that you control on your terms. So let's build it together. Thank you very much, everyone. And now over to Tanya to show us how frontier tuning works in practice.
Thanks, Mustafa. With frontier tuning, we're making it possible for you to create your own enterprise AI with the models and the harness tuned on your data and your workflows. Let me show you how you can build your own hill climbing machine. MAI Thinking 1 is now available in private preview in the Foundry model catalog. You can go ahead and deploy the model as is, or if you want to go on your own hill climbing journey, you can start by clicking the fine-tune button. Now, I'm in the fine-tuning UI. The first thing I'll do is add my data set. Next, I'm going to add a grader, and that's it. I go ahead and submit the job. Couple of hours in, I see how the model is learning. It generates rollouts, it scores them, and we start to hill climb. Now, if you want full control over your RL training loop, let me give you a sneak peek into our low-level training API. You can see here I have the MAI Thinking model. I can also configure my rollout strategy as well as my hyperparameters to define exactly how I want my training algorithm to work. In fact, I can also incorporate my own RL gym here by defining the tools that this model interacts with. All right, you just saw all the code. But as an M365 customer, you're never starting from scratch. Let's hop on to Copilot. As a part of frontier tuning, we're introducing a new way to build RL environments based on your data and your workflows. One of our customers, Land O'Lakes, one amongst the largest agribusinesses in the United States, is in fact using this to perfect that butter on your morning toast. Let me walk you through their environment. Now, on a high level, the environment consists of skills, knowledge, and tools. But in the back end, we create an entire RL gym for your agents to continuously learn the way that you work. Now let's look at the butter report generation skill here. These tasks are very complex. They require many manual steps and a high degree of precision. Now in these tasks, even 80% accuracy isn't good enough. To hill climb to higher accuracy, we're extending the industry definition of skills to include rubrics on what good looks like. But this is just one task. How do I scale this to codify all of the tasks in an enterprise? You spend a lot of time in M365, in Teams, Outlook, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. We use those signals to suggest skills and rubrics that truly define the way that you work. Next, you can add your organizational knowledge for grounding, like from OneDrive, SharePoint. Now, the environment comes built in with Microsoft tools, and you can add custom tools to it. Because these tools tap into real workflows, we virtualize them to simulate execution, so the model can learn without actually impacting the live state of your business. And now, my most favorite part, the science. By generalizing all of these learnings into the main model, as well as in the embedding model, we're able to hill climb for tasks that require high accuracy. And not only this, we are able to hill climb to more than 90% accuracy for Land O'Lakes tasks using the MAI model. In fact, we estimate this model to be 10x more efficient than the baseline models. Now, with this environment set up, let's go back to butter reporting. Let's run this task, this time using this tuned environment as an inferencing harness. Now, usually this task takes a couple of minutes to run. In the meantime, I will show you a cached response. Now, as you can see here, the agent has leveraged test time tree search with multiple models, including a fine-tuned model. And what you see here is a summary that doesn't feel generic. It feels undoubtedly Land O'Lakes. And that's not it. The task holds itself to high standards, and it continuously retrospects and evaluates itself. This way, with frontier tuning, your agent continuously improves with your compliant RL environment on your data, encoding the way you work. Now that is what I call frontier tuning as smooth as butter. We cannot wait to see the environments you built. Back to you, Satya.
Right. Thank you so much, Tanya, Mustafa, Gianrico. Thank you for the partnership here. What you just saw is a pretty significant shift. We believe that time's come for every company to just move from consuming a frontier model to fully participating at the frontier in the frontier ecosystem. That's the transition. You can have your own private evals and outcomes, your private RLEs and traces, your enterprise knowledge, create this scaffolding for models to hill climb. That's what will allow you to create that differentiated IP that you own, you control. But the second salient point is that there is a new operating point at the frontier where you can use a very efficient reasoning model and a coding model and achieve frontier-level performance because you've done the hard work of creating that environment, that RLE, that hill-climbing machine in which these models with your traces can hill climb to the frontier. So we think that the combination of this two is a pretty big game changer in how people think about what does it mean to operate at the frontier? What does frontier tokens look like? How are you in control? What's the future of a firm? These are the big questions. And really an ecosystem that gets built around as opposed to a few models that just are hungry for all data. To close out, though, I want to talk about the frontiers beyond that push this ecosystem of ours and really say, what's the next big thing? Bending the curve, when Mustafa talked about this with Gianrico when it comes to health, but building, that scientific discovery loop can have perhaps the biggest societal impact, right? Science today still is a little too linear. You create a hypothesis, you form a hypothesis, you run an experiment, you wait for lab results, which is out of band, and then you begin again. But what if the scientific method itself could become more continuous, more parallel, more programmable? That's what we're doing with Microsoft Discovery, right? Discovery brings together the models, the HPC compute, the knowledge graphs of all the scientific knowledge, the automated lab and simulation into one agentic discovery loop. And so today, I'm really thrilled to GA Microsoft Discovery and to show you all of this in action. Let me invite up on David on stage. David, take it away.
Hello. I work in the Microsoft Discovery and Quantum team. Today, to recycle a PET plastic like this bottle, you have to shred it and melt it. The result is degraded. You cannot use it to make this bottle again. It's downcycling. Cambridge Consultants, part of Capgemini, is using Microsoft Discovery to advance that research. Let me show it to you. This is the Microsoft Discovery app. It is based on VS Code because agentic discovery has many parallels with agentic software engineering. Today, I want to do these three things as a scientist. First, I want to write a scientific paper about this topic. I'll explore an existing line of research. Instead of melting the plastic, I can use proteins to decompose it. so you can recycle it again and again. Second, I want to perform the actual discovery to find new proteins. And third, I want to create a lab protocol to test the results in a real lab. If you are a developer, these 3 steps should be very familiar to you. They look a lot like planning, coding and testing, and deploying to production, but for science. Let's launch it. This will kick off the discovery engine. You can think of it as a team of specialized agents always running in the background, following the scientific method. You can see those agents here, and you can add more. Microsoft Discovery includes a community of agents, models, and tools across many domains. You can use open source, third parties, or create your own. Okay, so this is still running, and it will be running for a while, even hours or days, because the discovery engine, like science, is not sequential. It is exploring hypotheses and performing long-running simulations dynamically. So let me open one that is already completed. You can see the files that it created here. This one is the research paper that I was asking for. To create it, Discovery is using a knowledge graph internally, bringing together public scientific literature and internal knowledge. This is a critical asset because it provides complete visibility of the reasoning, so scientists can be in full control. We can go now to step 2, the discovery itself. Let me open the output for that one. So, how do you come up with new proteins to decompose plastic? This is the approach that Discovery took. First, you need an AI model to predict how good a protein is for that. Then, you need a way to generate new proteins. And finally, you need to identify the most promising ones. So let's start with the model. Microsoft Discovery trained multiple models and picked the best. And there's no out-of-the-box agent for that. But that's OK. If Microsoft Discovery does not find an agent for a task, it will create one on the fly, which is pretty cool. So here's all the files that it created. This one here is the YAML for the agent. And this one, for example, is the Python code to train the models. Now we need to generate candidates for new proteins. And that task requires a lot of compute. Discovery is integrated with HPC, so agents can use it for complex simulations. You can see the process here. It started with a seed protein, and then it created variations by replacing small segments. You can see those segments there. Then it applied the model from before to see the variation helps or not, learning in that process. This is done millions of times in multiple jobs in parallel, exploring a huge tree of proteins. The result is 80 proteins that are ready to be sent to the lab for testing, which we said it was like deploying software, right? The problem, though, is that creating a protein is a little bit more complicated. The most common way is inserting DNA into bacteria, so the bacteria create the protein for me. So Discovery created another file, this one here. This file contains all the DNA sequences to create each protein. I can send this now to a lab, create the proteins, and test them. Or I can go one step further. If I have an automated lab, I can integrate it directly with the agents. Let's do it. So let me go back to the session, and let's just submit job to lab. Go. This will use a custom agent that is sending the instructions for the lab equipment. And this is very real. Cambridge Consultants does have an automated lab, and I have it right here. So this is the application controlling the lab. It has a Copilot interface, so the scientists can interact with the lab to design experiments, which is, it feels like being Iron Man, but for chemistry. In this case, Discovery is submitting the job. You can see it already here. But remember, you need to grow the bacteria, so this will take some time. So let me open a previous run. And there you go. These are all the steps that the agents are doing, most of them completely automated with human supervision. How cool is that? This is bringing together the physical world and the digital agents in a unified discovery loop. And this was just one example of what Microsoft Discovery can do. Customers across industries are using it today to embrace a new era of scientific discovery. Thank you. Back to you, Satya.
Thank you so much, David. Talking about scientific discovery, we're also continuing to make rapid progress on our long-term goal of building a scalable quantum computer. We announced last year our first QPU. We created a new state of matter that was only theorized 100 years ago, and we proved it out that it exists. Our vision was to take a very radically different approach to addressing the fundamental barriers to building a scalable quantum machine, which is all about reliability, speed, as well as size. Since then, we have continued to make progress across the full quantum stack with both our academic and industry partners. In fact, in Q-North, we will have a quantum computer powered by atom computers, natural atom computers, with our stack in there. We're also working with Algorithmic and Columbia and ETH Zurich. And we ourselves, in fact, use this discovery agentic loop to accelerate the work in quantum, compressing years of research into this last year. And today, I'm really thrilled to announce Majorana 2. And so this is Majorana 2. Majorana 2 implements the next generation material stack that we use Discovery to discover and build and help fabricate. The resulting qubits are exceptionally reliable and capable of maintaining their state much longer, while other common approaches deliver a lifetime of just microseconds or even milliseconds. Majorana 2 provides qubit mean lifetime of 20 seconds or up to even a minute, essentially 1,000 times higher than what we were able to achieve with Majorana 1. And the operations, and this is so key, operations in Majorana 2 are 1 microsecond, enabling pretty complex quantum computation in that lifetime. And all of this in the same qubit form factor of Majorana 1, in 1/100th of a millimeter controlled all digitally, which is again a super important aspect, making it all possible to fit 1 million of these qubits in a chip smaller than a credit card. It's this combination of the reliability, the speed, the size that makes the topological approach so unique. With Majorana 1, we had proven out the foundational physics, and with Majorana 2, now we begin the engineering scale. But ultimately, it is never about tech for tech's sake. It's about tackling those pressing challenges of people and planet. It is also the fundamental point of this conference. The question is not whether you can build the next great model, the next great platform, or even this quantum machine. The question is, how do we build this frontier ecosystem together? Because there are really 2 stories people can tell about this moment. One is that technology concentrates power, reduces human agency, and leaves the society to absorb the consequences. The other is that we use this next wave to unlock opportunity for developers, scientists, enterprises, and every community. And our job is to make the second story true. That's our North Star for the frontier ecosystem. Let's all go build together. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.